Hi there. Now today I'm going to talk to you about something to do with business that you might not necessarily have thought is associated with business at all, and that's cookery. Now I'm going to tell you a story, and you might be able to identify with this if you've ever been the poor student like I was. I was having one of those days when when the money's kind of come to an end at the end of the month, you're opening up those cupboards and the cupboards are bare. Well, I was having one of those days and I'd gone into the cupboard and I thought, right, what's here? What can I make? I thought, curry powder. Okay, I could make a curry. Now, what normally goes into a curry? I usually put some meat in. Okay, so I looked down in the fridge, no meat in there. So I thought, what else could I use? And I remembered back in that cupboard, I'd seen this can of tuna. So I got it out, tuna in brine. I'm thinking these could work together. So open up the can of tuna and then think, what else normally goes into a curry? They've normally got yogurt, cream, something like that. I remember seeing some yogurt in the fridge, so I got that out of the fridge. And it was one of those pots that's, got that fruit bit on the side. And I thought, well, the fruit's not going to work in a curry, but that yogurt could be great. So I thought, right, I'll put the yogurt, I'll put the tuna, I'll put the curry powder in, and I put the gas on, and I'm stirring away, and the smell is just starting to come up and hit my nose. But I thought, this is going to be all right. I'm experimenting here. And I noticed that the yogurt was starting to curdle, when it mixes with the salty water. But I thought, no, I'll trust myself. I'm being creative. So I thought, right, that's probably warm enough now. Let's just take a spoonful. And, it just took one spoonful to make me realize I'd made this hideous mistake. And it just left me with such a disgusting taste in my mouth, a bad taste that just lasted for hours. No matter how much I brushed my teeth, it just wouldn't go away. One of those nasty experiences. And it really could have put me off cooking altogether, but I decided to persevere, and I did realise I'd made a fundamental mistake here. If I didn't know what I was cooking, I should have just picked up a recipe book. Now, how often do people not refer to the recipe books in business? There's a lot of information out there. Okay, sometimes our cupboards are a little bit bare and we've got to make do with what we've got, but there's a lot of information out there, particularly on the internet. And we can get that temptation to try and get creative, to take all of those ingredients that we're not quite sure how to use, throw them all together. I see this happening a lot when people are looking at different techniques for marketing. Should I be doing teleseminars? Should I do social media? Should I be doing direct mail? And they take ingredients that on their own would probably be fine, but in combination, it's a hideous mistake and they've turned into a tuna curry. So if we've got all of those opportunities out there, how can we make the best of it? Well, we need to find a recipe that we can stick to, something that is actually helping us to create that outcome that we're looking for. Now, I know probably at an intellectual level, you get this stuff. We all know that it makes sense. But just think about when you have a dinner party or you have friends over for dinner and you're cooking away, you've even got your recipe book out there on the counter, you know what's going in, you've got your method in your mind, and then you get that friend who very helpfully says, anything I can help with? And so just to be polite, you let them get involved and they start tasting things. Oh, that could do with a bit more salt. Oh, no, you don't want to cook it like this, do it like this. Hey, tell you what, you go and do that, I'll get on with it. And you come back and they've ruined dinner. Now, this can happen when we're looking for loads of information. We're seeking out help from lots and lots of different people. We're letting too many people into our kitchen. Sometimes you have to politely just say, thank you. That's not quite going to fit with the recipe that I'm making, but I might come back to that later, and just close that kitchen door. Just get on with it. Stick to a recipe that works. And also make sure that you're following a recipe from somebody who's actually made what you're trying to make. Because otherwise it's like asking a vegetarian for advice on cooking roast beef. It's down to speculation. If they're not somebody who eats it themselves, who prepares it for other people, it's just speculation. So you have to be quite careful who you go to for advice, whose recipe you start to follow. Now, I've been in business for a number of years myself, and I work alongside a fantastic serial entrepreneur. I've also got some fantastic connections with people who have shared with me their recipes for success. And it's interesting because when you talk to people about things in cookery terms, they get it. It's there. Everybody eats. Everybody enjoys food. And what we've done is bring together all of those recipes, all the ones that are proven, tried, tested, they work. They've been tried in different situations. And more importantly, we tell you how to use them, which things to put in combination. So if this is sounding like it's something that's maybe whetting your appetite, so to speak, then I really suggest you check out our new book, Business Cookery, Tried and Tested Recipes for Business Success. It's something you can really get your teeth into. They're really easy to follow recipes, some funny stories in there as well. I think you're going to love it. Of course, there's always the option to go out and experiment, but be careful if you try to make a tuna curry.